Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Albums and Memories, where I talk about albums I have in my collection. I talk about the memories they gave me. Now today we're going to talk about Gnarls Barkley's The Odd Couple and Julie Black's Revival. Uh, Two sophomore albums by two different people. Well, three different people. As you can see, there are two people in Gnarls Barkley. So why don't we start with Gnarls Barkley? See this? Two people. Two people. Two people in Gnarls Barkley. Not one person, two people. CeeLo Green and Danger Mouse. See that? And you see this? This Gnarls Barkley is so far the last Gnarls Barkley album, and this came out 2 years after Saint Elsewhere, and it's exactly what you. It's not even what you expect. This is my favorite. This is my favorite Gnarls Barkley album. Yeah, there are only two of them so far, but this is my absolute favorite because it's so underrated and it just explores so much more. Like it starts off. It doesn't start off with a bang like Saint Elsewhere did with Go Go Gadget Gospel, but it actually starts off very groovily with Charity Case, and it actually keeps going a bit slower with Who's Gonna Save My Soul Now, and then like it actually picks up a bit with Going On and Run, I'm a Natural Disaster, and then it's actually kind of like goes from the it actually goes like it's mostly a slower. It's actually more of a chiller album than Saint Elsewhere was, because Saint Elsewhere actually started off. Half of it was like high tempo, and the other half was pretty much like it actually kind of slowed down, and it was like lower, but the quality was still there. This is pretty much all over the place, and I love it for that because it's just so like it's just so in terms of in lack of a better word, chill. It's actually a lot more chill than the last album because it's like again, it's probably because Crazy, like there wasn't a bigger song like Crazy, and this pretty much reviewed a tiny bit less, but it was still mainly positive. But I genuinely like the song. Like I heard Run for the first time. I'm like, okay, I like the song, and then I heard the rest of it. I'm like, oh my god, this is actually really good. And the memories it gave me, it just reminds me of like, it actually just reminds me of when I was in high school when I heard the song and I just kept rehearsing. I was in a high school play called Oscar, and I had the second most lines in the play. And this is pretty much the album I would listen to anytime I was in here rehearsing my lines over and over again, and then doing my homework. To this day, I don't know how I did it without stumbling over my lines, or just needing to stuff, or not even messing up. I think I messed up like 2 or 3 times at one point, but this was pretty much just an amazing album to listen to. And as you can see, not much, just the same thing, except it's pretty. You can't see it right now, but it's pretty much like blue. It's a blue CD, but the silhouettes of these two are right here. But I remember just like being in the hallway and just hearing this, like not even being in the hallway, just being in this room and reading my lines for my high school play in the script over and over again. I'm like, this is actually really good. This is actually going at me. I'm just gonna keep going and going with this, and it's actually a really good thing to like go for. Like I'm just going for it. Like, oh my god, this is actually a really good album. Like it explores. It's a lot. It's a little bit slower than Saint Elsewhere, but you know what? That actually makes it more special because nobody expected Gnarls Barkley to actually make a second album. It's like everybody just assumed they were one hit wonders, and in some respects they are. But this is really these guys are really, 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 really underappreciated. A lot more people should actually like look into these two discographies. I hear that they are gonna make another album, a third one, but it's been almost like a decade. And this came out 2 years after the last album, and I'm like, I'm just waiting. I just want this actually to be good. I just want this. I don't know. I don't know. I'm really hoping that the next album is gonna be even better because this is gonna be a really tough act to follow, in my opinion. Because I really like the neo soul in here. I like the music here, and I like the music in Saint Elsewhere. It's just that I really want them to like come up with an album. Like everybody's talking about Game of Thrones, how like like when Game of Thrones is ending, like the announcement of the sponsors of Game of Thrones. I want this. I want them to make a third album because that'll give me a much better memories of like it. Because their two albums came out when I was in high school, but I just remember this one much more clearly. Like again, like high school play, rehearsing my own lines over and over again until I got it right. And this this album is just beautiful from start to finish. Like you should totally check this out. Gnarls Barkley's The Odd Couple. It's a really good album. Just check it out. In my opinion, it's really good. And speaking of albums that are better than their debut albums, Julie Black's Revival is a beautiful gem. Like I talked about how in their first album I didn't really like all that much because like there was Sweat Off Your Brow, and then there's Stay of the Night, and then Five Times Love, and that's pretty much it. Like I felt that like the songs weren't as memorable, and I thought, okay, this is not a great album. I just hope that her next album is better. This this is her best album so far. I love this album. And here's the thing. It's still in the CD is still in my CD case, in my quick pick CD case. Like it's still there after how much? This came out in 2007. Like pretty much 10 years. This is an album that's 11 years old, soon to be 12 at this point in 2019. And I still love this album. And anytime I have to take out a new CD, I'm like, why do I have the CD in again? And I play it on my laptop on a CD player. I'm like, that's why. That's why. Like this song is This CD is beautiful. And like I remember hearing 7-Day Fool for the first time. I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of catchy. I can't wait to hear it. And I'm like, yeah, this is actually really good. This is actually really, really good. And I'm like, yeah, this is actually fun. And then I heard the rest. I heard the rest of it. I'm like, oh my god, this is actually really jamming. And I'm like, oh my god. And then the song Until I Stay just reminds me of just the evening time when I was in high school, just laying back, like against my door on the stairs, and like, oh god, this is actually really good. I thought I never knew my mind forever. And I'm like, oh god, this album is so good. It reminds me of like when I was in high school and I just kept going through like my rehearsals and in my play, like I mentioned before. Just I was an actor in high school. Like I was in a drama club, and this, along with the other album I just mentioned, The Odd Couple. Well, actually, this was more like my song I listened to while I was doing homework, and I genuinely just liked how it felt. It made me feel like better about myself. Like I remember the music anytime in high school when I had such an off day. I'm like, oh, I want to listen to something, and I listen to this. I'm like, oh god, this is just giving me so much that I don't know what to say. And yeah, this album is great. This is actually a great album. Like she has 3 albums so far, but yeah, this album, like this is my favorite album because it actually explores a lot more. It helps that it's 11 songs and it goes by really quick. Like it's just, and my favorite song, the closing track, Mystery, is actually a great song because it just reminds me of just grooving to it. Like I can't say, I don't want to say grooving it, but there's no other way. Just going with it, just like dancing, like doing this, like. And when it's over, I'm like, oh, that's it. It just left me wanting more, and that's kind of what I want. I'm glad for the CD because like everybody has their own album that they wouldn't have liked, but they all end up liking. But hey, every time I listen to this album, I'm like, oh my god. So this is why I bought the CD. This is why I bought the CD, because I like it this much. This is why I still listen to this sometimes. And whenever I feel like I shouldn't have it in my quick pick CD case, I'm like, yeah, I could see why. I could see why I still have this on my CD case. I'm like, yeah, I could see it. Oh god. And then after this, there's only one more album, and she hasn't released another album since 2010. Still waiting for that 4th album, because I will buy that album. I will buy that album. I don't care. even though her third album isn't as good, but that's a story for another time. Like, then again, I didn't think that her any other album could top this, because this is my favorite. This is my favorite album. It just reminds me of just doing homework in high school, just having my earphones in my ear. I'm like, yeah, this is actually really good. Uh, Something's off about this. It won't close properly. That's the problem. It won't close. I think I may have dropped it at some point. I'm not sure. Oh God, I thought I stopped dropping CDs like before. Yeah, yeah. See, it's doing something off. So yeah, these two albums are really good. Everybody should like check it out. People should actually just flat out check these two albums out and their discography because they are very underrated people. Like seriously, just check it out. They are very underrated people. And so that's it for another episode of Albums and Memories, and I'll see you later. Thank you.